Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Hakuoki Blossoms and Nagakora's route. And I think we're in chapter 3. I don't know, it's been a day since I played this. I don't like this. I don't like this cycle that I've gotten myself into since October. Okay, it's been like forever, and I don't like this. Well, I have to play a little bit of this, and then I gotta play a little bit of this, and this, and this, and this, because then I do this, and this is back where we started, where it's like, I don't know what happened, and I don't know where we are, and I'm not even sure what my name is right now. But, like, and that's why I got the nice pattern of, like, we do a route. We're going to play all of Nagakora's route. And then we go to a different game and we play all of this person's route. And then we go to our third game and play all of that route. Color X Malice fucked that up a little bit because those ones are really long. I'm not complaining because that game's great. And I love it. And I love that we get so much time with our boys. And it's not like, here's 14 hours of, like, the common route and, like, 30 minutes of their route. You know what I mean? Like most games, like, I like the way they did it. But kind of threw me off a little. You know, but also getting behind and trying to catch up and everything like that. And I mean, yeah, I've only got 2 games to play. It's this and Color X Malice, but I'm also trying to, like, sparsely do that. Like, I'm trying not to forget, so I do every other day now. And it's like, but I don't remember what happened with this because it's been like 2 days since I played it, technically. Like, one full day would have been I played it yesterday, but I didn't play for 2 days. And then, like I could have. We're almost done with Color X Malice. I'm not sure what's going up when. I'm almost done recording it. But I'm like, I could, because I could probably record the end of it today. But I don't wanna. And I can't record tomorrow, because my mom's coming over. So I'm like, it's going to be like 3 days, and I'm really going to forget. But I'm doing that on purpose, so that I don't... Oh, hold on. Sorry, it's my phone, but it's not my mom or anything important like that. Boop. She said she was going to text me. It's Wednesday. She's supposed to be... Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. But, like, I'm like, yeah. So then Friday we can finish it, and I'm just going to drink while we play, because it's going to be the end of that game, and I'm going to be so sad. But anyway, Nagakora's route, chapter 3, doing something. I don't remember. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Anyway. You guys know. I don't. You do, because you saw this yesterday. Or you could just be watching all of the routes when they come out and just wait till they're all posted, and then... I don't know. Anyway. As it turned out, choosing Nikko as the location for their base was fraught with several problems. Operations in Nikko became an issue as the shogunate hadn't intended for the site to become desecrated by warfare, so they rechose Aizu as their destination. In an act of irony, Nikko was overtaken by imperial forces, and we lost another strategic location. Because we were at the mercy of the shogunate's fickle orders, we were constantly jumping from place to place. Wow, I can't read. Hoping to hear a bit of good news. After an eternity of waiting, we were given orders to depart from Nikko to Shirakawa. Shirakawa Domain, a powerful domain located within the Oshu region, once governed by one of Tokugawa's hereditary daimyo. I wish I knew how to say that. I don't even know if that's right. Whatever. Following the Boshin War, it became a hotly contested landholding. Nagakora and the rest of his men were to plan an offensive strike against Shirakawa Castle as a retaliatory gesture for their defeat in Utsunomiya. Night had fallen by the time our men had reached the Aizu troops surrounding the perimeter of Shirakawa Castle. Yesterday we were in one place, now we're here. So, any updates about Shirakawa Castle? Even a stalemate would be progress, but the reality is they got no clue to how to proceed. The enemy's got enough firepower to pump all of us full of bullets, and they're swarming this place. We gotta take Shirakawa Castle at any cost, or this war will just be one big uphill battle. So, you're telling me that, for a full-out assault on a huge castle, where are the reinforcements? Do they actually expect us to win this thing? A negative energy began seeping into the atmosphere of the camp, so I'd wanted to deflect from it quickly. My immediate inclination was to whip up something delicious to occupy their attention. This, if anything, was the only reprieve I could offer. Well, she's smart. Because I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like a fucking shadow puppet theater? Like, look, it's a butterfly, guys! And they're like, Spacey, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm mentally challenged? Okay, never mind. Like, puppy? An alligator? Like, they just be looking at me like I was crazy. Why don't you do something useful? I'm not useful for anything! Anyway. Here, you two. I've made you all some supper. Please enjoy it while it's still warm. Hey, much appreciated. I still miss you a little bit. Harada eagerly dug into his meal with his chopsticks, unlike Nagakora, who seemed totally disengaged. I made you a food! You fucking eat, bitch! God! You're so aggravating! There were lines of worry on his face, folding as he wavered back and forth on the cusp of a great sigh. Nagakora, are you okay? Yeah, all good over here. It's nothing. It was an obviously feigned answer if I'd ever heard one. His sadness was unmistakable, as crushing as the weight was upon his shoulders when we made our return to Ito from Kyoto. A dull pressure ached in my chest. Just then... Okay, guys, so I'm going to wrap this part up here. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. This is just usually the part where we wrap things up like, and we're done. So, 5-minute parts. That's what we're doing. We're going to speed part, and we're going to see how long we can make this game go if we just stop at every inconvenient spot. Wouldn't that be amazing? Like, I'm just only going to do 10-minute parts. Like, what kind of fresh hell would that be? Oh my god. I mean, literally the parts are only 10 minutes because I talked for about 50 minutes about random shit, but anyway, yeah. I mean, I know he's dealing with some shit. Like, I know he's dealing with some shit. It's heavy shit on him. But still, it's like, oh my god, why do we have to fight you so much? Like, I feel like we're fighting him. Maybe it's just because, like, I do like him as a bro. He's a good bro. Like, you're awesome, bro. But I don't want to date you. Like, I don't know. I feel bad saying that. Because, like, I wasn't into Yamazaki or Heisuke, but their routes were really good. So I was like, oh, it's okay. And I know his route's still going to be good, but they're still just in this. And he has his moments where you're like, oh, you poor thing. But I just want to be friends. Ask to just be friends. Like, so it's like, don't make me work so hard, okay? Because, like, you don't seem really invested. I mean, Spacey in the game might be invested. I don't know if I'm really that invested. So just, I feel like I'm not giving him a fair chance. Nagakora's head poked up, and he gazed sternly at something from outside of our encampment. All of a sudden, he yanked his katana from out of its sheath, roaring into the blank darkness. You there! Freeze! Wait! Is this the Aizu camp? Well, who's asking? I'm not your enemy! I just escaped Ito by the skin of my teeth! Spare me, please! Well, look, he's wearing a black Western uniform. Our guys wear black Western uniforms. He must be on our side. I don't know. I can't tell which pointy hat is which. They all look the same except for their hats are different. One's wider, like this guy, and the other one's taller and narrower, and I don't know which one's which. It was more helpful when we were dressed in Japanese style clothing and not Western clothing. Although I like our boys in the Western clothing, but I'm just saying, now I don't know who's on whose side. Nagakora and I couldn't help but look at one another in confusion. Our strange visitor was a soldier dressed in shogunate attire with a sunken face who had just narrowly escaped the occupation in Ito. And judging by his slovenly appearance, I figured that Ito in its current state took a massive toll on him. Hold on! Sorry, I just got... Not that... This is a bad part. This part's bad. We're doing random shit. I'm sorry, it's just... I got a text, and if it's my mom, I gotta answer. Oh, no, it's my sister. Hold on. Oh, okay, it was my mom. Hold on. My mom was just texting to let us know. She just texted a group text to my sisters and everything that she got to the hotel that she's staying at tonight. So I just want to make sure. So anyway, now my phone's going to go off a million times because she texted me, both my sisters, and my aunt. So now it's like 500 people are going to text. But anyway, I figured it was just like a text to just me. But that's true. My sisters actually give a shit too. Why did you text everyone? Well, because she's coming to my house tomorrow, and then she's going to go to my sister's house and everything. Anyway, okay. Okay, we already read that. After we had left the Shinsengumi, news of Ito's occupation hit me like a cannonball, and I worried for the safety of our old friends. They're gone. However, there was some solace to take in knowing that Ito hadn't fallen victim to savage warfare. After taking a moment to catch his breath, the soldier revealed to us devastating bit of information. Kondo's dead. Yeah, I was just wondering that. Well, our friends, and I was like, wait, no, we found out Kondo was kidnapped but not dead. So I was literally just like devastating piece of news. I'm like, I was just wondering. I'm like, when do we find out that Kondo was killed? Like, when are we gonna find that out? Here you go. Are you serious? Kondo was decapitated? What the hell? I didn't get all the details, but after he surrendered, they uncovered his true identity and sentenced him to a beheading at Itabashi. No, that can't be. I can't believe they executed Kondo. My jaw fell agape as I tried to make sense out of it all. From what we were previously told, Kondo had handed in his surrender as a Hatamoto. So, is all of this true? Well, it's not like I was there to see it all, but it's been put into circulation in a woodblock print. Kondo had passed away. He didn't pass away, he was murdered. Like, it's not like he's passed away. I mean, technically, any way you die, you pass away. But this was passing away by murder. Decapitate, I mean, it's kind of murder. Like, it's just, I mean, I guess you can find another way to say it. Like, well, it's war, and so, like, yeah, but it's still, like, murder. Like, it's still, like, they killed him. Like, that. Anyway. The thought struggled to find its feet in my mind. It's not like Okita passed away. Yeah, that's passing away. He died of his illness. Like, such a thoughtful and boisterous leader, cruelly taken from us too soon. On top of it all, he suffered humiliation by being beheaded in front of a public audience. His honor was stolen, and instead he was brandished as a criminal. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Was the shogunate so unwilling to exert the effort of saving his life? A lifetime of service and sacrifice, discarded by the people for whom Kondo had sworn his life. Maybe if I'd stuck around a bit longer, Kondo wouldn't have been killed. Nagakura gnashed his teeth, struggling to reconcile his grief as he focused the blame upon himself. But Hijikata should have been there for him. How the hell did he let it all happen? Everyone always blames Hijikata. I feel so bad for Hijikata sometimes. And Sanan. Like, I feel bad for... Sanan's the one I feel the most bad for. Or, I mean, I feel bad for all of them. And then I'm like, well, I mean, but Okita's, like, slowly rotting away. I feel bad that the game developers hate Okita. I feel bad for Sanan, that everybody is, like, mean to him. I mean, I guess he kind of deserves it. But at the same time, they're kind of mean to him. And he's kind of, like, got some self-confidence issues. And that's why he does bad things, and then everyone's mean to him, and then he does worse things. So it's just like a bad cycle. But still, I feel bad for him. But I also feel bad for Hijikata, because, like, god damn it, Hijikata would have fucking done anything in his fucking power, but he didn't. And then so it's like all his fault. Like, stop! Stop being a dick. It's not his fault. Like, he can't save everyone. Poor Hijikata. He needs a hug too. God. Just fucking sawn out on one side. Hijikata. It's okay. You guys can cry all you want. Everybody's blaming you. I'll take care of you. I need, like, plushies of them. Like, but they need to make plushies of all of the. Why don't they? I need them. I wish I knew how to make them. Because I would seriously just take forever and make little plushies of all of our boys. Like, yay! There's a plushie pile. Seriously. I only have a Grell, but it's fine. Whatever. We all stared nervously back at Nagakura as his temper flared, and only with Harada's cool guidance could we hope to ease Nagakura's pain. Calm down, man. You heard the story. Kondo sacrificed himself to save the Shinsengumi. There you go. I assume Kondo gave Hijikata and the others an out, so they wouldn't be in the same position. But they didn't even let the guy commit seppuku. They had to behead him? Pretty fucked up to me. Maybe Hijikata saw this coming from a mile away. That kind of explains why he fought tooth and nail to take the castle. Maybe he had a grave to dig. If what Harada was posturing were true, that Hijikata was somewhat aware of Kondo's fate, I couldn't begin to imagine the anguish befalling him, how bitterly he must have taken the news. Watching Nagakura lose his composure was a vivid enough picture for me to envision how the rest of our friends may have reacted. Words escaped me, as they so often did, as I looked toward Nagakura scowling at the crackling campfire. So, anything else you'd like to share with us? Yes, sir. The Shogi Company, who stayed behind in Edo, are currently holding Ueno as a fortress. If they're standing their ground in Ueno, then it's only a matter of time until Edo's conquered with steel. Harada's brows furrowed in contemplation. One of the motivating factors in our departure from Edo was avoiding being the epicenter of a large-scale conflict. Being in the epicenter. Death was pursuing us at every turn, and we were helpless in fleeing from it. Like, I was thinking of something. Hold on. It's in the back of my mind, and it'll eventually come, and then I'll spit it out. But All of my rage was directed at the Imperial Army, who shamefully condemned Kondo to death, and at the Shogunate for being complicit in the act. My fondness for Ito was wilting, like all things do, as its character and its citizens became alien to me. It was no longer a place to call home. Final Destination. That's what it was! When, like, death is chasing us at every turn, I'm like, what the hell's that? It was like, that's all I was thinking is, like, Hakuoki Final Destination Edition. Because, anyway. And I was like, wait. But then I was like, why can't I remember the name of that movie series? What the hell? Shit. Anyway, after sharing with us what he knew, the soldier was whisked away to an Aizu domain representative. When it appeared as though our relative privacy had been restored, Nakakura and Harada produced 2 large bottles of sake, seemingly out of thin air, like, Jesus, where you... I don't want to know. I don't want to know where you're hiding them. The 2 of them raised a silent toast, presumably in honor of Kondo. I held my tongue as I watched them throw back several shots, their cheeks becoming as rosy as a springtime afternoon. Soon my own cheeks were wet from tears that flowed in a steady deluge into the late, late night. Wow, Nakakura, not even a hug? Not even anything to comfort me? Fine, whatever. It's all about you. Selfish. The brisk dawn air bit my sensitive cheeks. Sadly, I welcomed the morning without much sleep. Nagakura crawled from his tent with dark bags sagging under his eyelids, which led me to assume that his night had been similarly restless. Harada, however, greeted us with a startlingly deadpan expression. Shinpachi, we need to have a chat. What's up? Harada's eyes darted left to right, and he bit into his lip as he quickly searched for the right words. Once he'd made up his mind, he snapped his fingers playfully, celebrating his tiny breakthrough. Remember how we heard that the Shogi Company is gearing up to take on those Imperial bastards? The clock is ticking until Ito becomes a total war zone. So to hell with the Shogunate. I stand with Ito's people. I ask your permission to leave him for Ito. My heart aches for everyone who supported us, including those who took care of Kondo and Tama. And give me a chance to see if they're going to be okay. When I confirm they're safe, I'll return immediately. Wait, was Harada planning on returning to Ito alone? Oh, you don't die though, so don't die. His request completely blindsided us, given that our march to Aizu was already set in motion. Immediately, I turned to look at Nagakura, whose lips quivered in the crevice of his mouth as he thought deeply about his dear friend's sudden request. If Harada were, in fact, to abandon their cause in order to pursue a separate mission, Nagakura would surely be thrown into another emotional crisis. As I gathered the courage to voice my passionate objection to his request, someone else spoke first. Nagakura stepped closer into the circle, his eyes boring heavily into Harada's. You're being coy. It's your heart set on going whether or not we give your permission, right? Yep, caught me. Leave everything to me. We got enough spit and grit for the 2 of us, so don't worry. Go on, kick some ass, man. Thanks, Shinpachi. Guess this is goodbye then. Oh. Now the 2 musketeers becomes the 1 musketeer. It's like having a third of a 3 musketeers candy bar. It's sad. They exchanged conversation casually, as if they were discussing any other subject. It was subtle enough to delude me into thinking Harada would soon return, if just for a cup of sake. The truth was a greater task to stomach. The fates of Nagakura and Harada were separating into unique journeys, creating a mystery of when, if ever, their paths would cross again. This is why the being your independent woman round is going to be sad as fuck. Harada lowered his head with a curt bow as he walked past Nagakura towards me. Moments ago, I resolved to make my reservations about his decision known, but now I was speechless. Harada, forgive me, kid. It kills me to leave him for Ito while he's still in that state of his, but I'll regret it for the rest of my life if I don't go. A shiver ran across the length of my arms and into my shoulders, trickling along my spine. Harada mirrored a sentiment that Nagakura once shared with me, only a few moons ago. Many moons ago. Nagakura had grown fearful that one day he would tire of the Shinsengumi, disillusioned by its promise and forgetful of his tender memories. The bittersweet gleam in the center of Nagakura's eye was the same I saw in Harada's, and I knew there was nothing I could say to oppose him. Perhaps too little too late had I realized how close the kinship between Nagakura and Harada was. Okay, you can trust me to take care of Nagakura. Yeah, I'll watch after him. He's chipper now, but I think he'll be licking this wound for a while. Right. Harada, do be careful. Please return to us safely and swiftly. Harada chortled, lifting his hand to cover his mouth as he spun around without responding. Following soon after Harada's departure, the Aizu organized a series of calculated attacks against Shirakawa Castle to overwhelm Imperial forces. The Imperials, however, absorbed the Aizu's intense pressure with well-positioned guard towers, situating their men with a steady supply of munitions. Newly developed Imperial rifles ripped through waves of advancing Aizu soldiers from range with an unbelievable precision. The Aizu struggled to cope with this vicious onslaught, clutching their outdated rifles like cursed totems while being blasted by cannon fire. Nagakura was among them. A thick, filthy layer of blood and sweat coated his skin as he cried out to his nearby comrades. With his arm raised to beckon his men back, he charged surprisingly into the hopeless fray. He covered his men from the rear as they flailed recklessly away from danger. He's being reckless. It's over! Oh, we're done for! I'll distract those riflemen up there. You guys just get the hell out of here and fall back! A stray bullet pierced through Nagakura's arm just after he had spoken, producing a thick gush of blood. It'll take more than a bullet to stun me. Give me all you got, you bastards. He's like purposely going in there, like, because he's so hurt. That's sad. His courageousness, yeah, could be explained by that promise he had made to Harada. It astounded me to watch him weave through lines of allies and enemies alike to defend the rear guard, thrusting himself into the veritable belly of the beast. The barrel of every Imperial rifle was pointed directly at Nagakura, thanks to his bravery. I mean, okay, one, yes, I think he would have done this to begin with, but two, I also think there's a little bit of carelessness in there. Like, yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to take care of these people. Okay, yeah, I kind of see that, but I also think that you're being a little bit careless because just all the pain that you're dealing with. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's a combination. To the untrained eye, Nagakura was a fool, making himself vulnerable to hundreds of riflemen. However, he was a fury, and in the back of my mind, I knew that he was safer than he appeared. However, it was still no excuse to put himself at risk so needlessly. See, that's it. He's putting himself in too much risk. Too much risk. Nonetheless, Nagakura inspired me, and his sword was stained with scarlet as he struck every Imperial soldier who happened to cross his path. Nagakura sure precedes his Shinsengumi reputation. Man, I'm tired just looking at him. I can fight 1,000 times and never be half as good. As long as we got Nagakura, we'll pull through. As concerned as I was, watching Nagakura lead by example, the reinvigorated cries of his allies were heard from all around us. Nagakura, is this what you truly wanted? We entered a hushed room in the battle's aftermath. It was then that I had decided to speak with Nagakura about his cavalier behavior. I took a deep breath and marched up to him. The fuck was that? No. Nagakura, I've got something to tell you. Or actually, it's more like something to ask of you. Please don't fight so recklessly out on the battlefield. You're always the first one in, and then you're the last one to leave. Watching you fight stresses me out. It's almost like you've got a death wish. Nagakura flexed his hand into a fist, answering me in a reserved tone. But it was the only way I could keep all of my men alive out there. Besides, I'm a fury. It'll take a hell of a lot more to kill me. I knew it. Nagakura was beginning to embrace his condition as a fury. It was a slippery slope that needed to be avoided. Just because you're a fury doesn't give you the right to go in with the intention of getting hurt. That's no way to do things. My response struck a nerve with Nagakura, who began raising his voice in return. What the hell do you expect me to do then? If I use my body as a shield, maybe I can keep the lives of my men safe. I don't need their blood on my hands. Hey, don't yell at me. In a way, I admired his selfless desire to preserve the lives of those serving under him. It reminded me of Kondo, whose legacy, at the end of his life, was becoming enshrined in the myth of his own sacrifice. Just as Harada had previously told me, Nagakura and Kondo weren't too different, hence their past tendency of butting heads time and again. It all became clear to me. At times, both Nagakura and Kondo were both inept at articulating the reason behind their actions. I wondered to myself if Nagakura idolized the way in which Kondo gave his life. Perhaps I may have been overthinking it, but I decided to tell him, I'm worried about you. I decided it was best to voice my concerns. Consequences be damned. It's because I'm worried about you, Nagakura. All of this is an act because I know you're grieving over Kondo and that you miss Harada. But is this any way to honor them? By acting like a complete imbecile out on the battlefield?
Damn. Well, sorry. I didn't think it'd bother you that much.
You just don't get it. It doesn't just bother me. I'm worried sick about you. Aww. So, would you mind taking better care of yourself? Please. Nagakura stared at the floor, forming his lips into a wry smile.
Hijikata said the same thing.
I gasped. I only remembered after Nagakura pointed it out. He was referring to an incident that had occurred shortly after we had arrived in Edo. Nagakura was embroiled in a dispute with a group of samurai at a bar, prompting Hijikata to lecture him scathingly about how he needed to be more careful.
I have a tendency not to think before I act, which is what gets me into trouble more often than not.
Then Nagakura finally lifted himself out of his slump, turning to bow deeply at me.
I think I owe you a huge apology. But first, thank you. Thanks for always having my back.
No, there's no need to apologize. Seriously, I just appreciate you listening to me.
Makes sense. I still feel like a jerk about it. I'll do my best not to make you worry. So relax a little bit.
He smiled at me shyly, which was enough to make my heart flutter just a tad. It felt good knowing my feelings were acknowledged, which was a welcome bit of solace in this trying time. Nagakura put his fingers to his chin, stroking it absent-mindedly as he pursed his lips.
Well, with how things are going, I think the war is going to get a lot tougher against the Imperial Army. If our backs are against the wall, is it okay to use my powers? Promise not to go insane. It's only for dire situations, like if I need to protect my men, or if there's an emergency.
What he said was sensible, and I suppose there was no stopping him if such a situation arose. Can I trust you to keep your promise?
Yeah, I promise.
Then fine. Only then can you use them. His reaction was not what I was expecting. Suddenly his shoulders froze, his face curling into a pained grimace. His reaction wasn't what I expected. And then I'm like, huh? And then I'm like, is he gonna kiss us? And then he gets this angry look and it's like, bloodlust.
Sorry. You mind if I step outside alone for a minute or two?
Without waiting for me to answer, Nagakura bolted out of the room. I followed him because that's what I do. As he jogged outside, I rushed quickly after him. His eyes were tightly shut, beads of sweat pooling on top of his forehead, when he suddenly stopped. Nagakura, are you okay? All of a sudden, his breathing became shallow, and soon his eyes and hair began changing color. It was bloodlust. I shuddered as Nagakura furiously clawed at his own chest, barely able to breathe in by this point.
I'm totally fine. So you just...
Timing couldn't have been worse. What was I to do? Give him blood. Come on, we know this. There was no time to hesitate. Nagakura needed me, especially with how much he strained his body protecting the Sekio core. Nagakura, please drink my blood. I hastily exposed my collar from under my kimono, then unsheathed my kodachi and slid it along my neck. Without another word, I turned my back to Nagakura. Keeping ourselves face to face surely would have been too much for him to handle in this delicate time. Yeah, but then he could have, sucked the blood off your neck and then kissed you. Come on! He didn't miss a beat, his nose perking upwards as the scent of my blood tickled his nostrils, and he proceeded to wrap his mouth around my fresh cut. Before sipping, however, he gulped a mouthful of saliva. I was like, he gulped a mouthful of saliva. Did we really need that in there?
I can't do it. If I drink this, then I'll...
Now's no time to worry about that. Just drink me. Please. Some Alice in Wonderland show, right? Drink me! Huh. As if beckoned by my request, Nagakura darted his tongue, tracing little circles around my sore wound. His moist lips made my neck shiver, along with a thin pinch of pressure as he sucked in deep gulps. I can't do the panting note, I don't know.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's quite all right. Just keep drinking. With each fervent drink of blood came a profuse string of apologies, but I enjoyed it all the same. September 1868. After his bout of bloodlust seemed to subside, the recklessness that had been becoming emblematic of Nagakora's leadership in battle was dissipating. All of the tensions built from his urge to fling himself into throes of death and gunfire simply disappeared, replaced by an apathetic malaise. Not all of it could be blamed on the toll his condition had been taking on his body, however. Although he was fulfilling an ambition to serve the shogunate under the Sekio Corps' banner, losing one battle after another was devastating. Not even the Aizu could withhold imperial advances. Neither geographical location nor number of soldiers were an obstacle to the Imperials, and Nagakura had just about seen enough. On this particular day, I watched him seethe with contempt as another defeat came to fruition.
Bonari Pass was taken too, huh? I don't know how much more bad news I can stomach.
It's Bonari? Yeah, pass. A trail through which Imperial forces marched in order to reach Aizu Castle, which later distinguished it as a historical site.
Commander Nagakura, sir, the Sekio Corps has been given the orders to retreat. We're to leave Bonari Pass and head for
Yonezawa Domain. A domain ruled by the Uesiki? Clan in the northeastern region of Japan. Despite not being affiliated with the Tokugawa, they joined the Northern Alliance to oppose the Imperial Army.
Come again? You're asking me to abandon the Aizu and order a retreat? Sir, direct orders from the shogunate.
The soldier's insistence was met with a sigh from Nagakura, who was working to hide his depression.
Fine. Orders are orders. Let's go.
Nagakura. If Bonari Pass had indeed fallen prey to Imperial occupation, then a siege attack on Aizu Castle in the near future was merely a formality. Sekio Corps forewent, becoming shogunate collateral, and instead fled to the Yonezawa domain. Nagakura sulked wordlessly during our lonesome departure from the charred battlegrounds. His eyes were vacant, affected more by his deflated ego than serious contemplation. Any of his remaining goodwill was left behind in Aizu. I tried numerous times to initiate conversation with him to bolster his spirits, but every response was muttered, his words floating away from me like he was entranced. On the main trail toward Yonezawa, we witnessed troops similarly nursing their sore wounds inflicted by defeat at the hands of the Imperial Army. We camped in a nearby forest, tending to our ailing allies in the refuge of darkness. From a little distance away from me, I overheard two soldiers speaking in a hushed tone.
Did you hear? A rumor is there's a ghost haunting the battlefields. Yep, heard all about it. There's no way to stop him either. Bullets and swords pass right through him. Yeah, and any poor soul unlucky to meet one gets murdered right then and there.
Ghosts in the battlefield. I bit my lip in disbelief. Do you think there's any truth in their stories?
Meh, sounds like an excuse a coward who fled the battlefield would use. They resort to these strange supernatural tales to save face. That way they don't get called out for it. It's a tactic for losers.
His response was half-hearted, but something in the nature of their conversation still bothered me. Their description of ghosts was conspicuously alike another creature, one that I had witnessed surviving gunfire and sword wounds with my own eyes. I can't read, I don't know what's wrong with me. But Nagakura, doesn't it sound a little familiar to you? Maybe like the Fury Corps?
Now that you mention it, yeah, there are similarities. The fact that they be attacking us makes me think they're not Shinsengumi Furies either. Which means Imperial Army has started making their own batch of Furies.
The emptiness in Nagakura's earlier expression was now filled with a panicked urgency. If the rumor of Furies running amok and murdering our men were true, then we had no room for complacency. Any strategic misstep on our side could result in the costly loss of every soldier at our disposal. Only one man was capable of wreaking havoc with nefarious creatures like Furies. It must be The man responsible for this batch of Furies must be my father.
What?
Sorry. I just wanted to feign surprise. Anyway, father, who had been experimenting on Furies with the Shinsengumi, was now collaborating with the Imperial Army. What tricks was he hiding up his sleeve? The very thought of father being associated with such a horrendous act was nauseating, and I nearly fainted as my vision began to swirl. Nagakura picked up on my discomfort intuitively, resting his hand gently upon my left shoulder. He gazed at me intently with a twinkle in his eye.
They're actually using Furies. We need to deal with them immediately. Do you want to try investigating?
Yes! The forest was dense and silent, save for the chirp of insects fluttering through the rustling branches. Beneath our feet were the fresh remnants of bullet casings and torn uniforms, giving us some indication of how the Aizu's retreat must have gone. The dazzling moonlight was contrasted by the sight of dismembered corpses, filling the air with a distinct stench that made me sick to my stomach. This is horrible.
Don't look, Spacey. Doesn't seem like they stopped at killing them. Looks like these bodies were ravaged after they were killed. No doubt about it. Only Furies are capable of a mess like this.
Must be. My skin crawled. If father was responsible for this depravity, I wasn't sure how I'd be able to live with myself. Just as the thought of him crossed my mind. Oh, look! A shadow snuck into the corner of my eye, and I flung my head to the side to search for it. A ray of moonlight shone through the trees, revealing. Father? Father? Indeed, it was him, his bald head glimmering underneath the moon's ominous glow.
Oh, fancy seeing the two of you here. Word reached me that my dear child had left Ito, no longer under the custody of the Shinsengumi. Although I wondered what had happened to you, I hadn't anticipated Nagakura to have snatched you up.
It's true, we met him in the beginning, didn't we? Yeah. Father began to snarl menacingly, prompting Nagakura to stand between us in a protective manner.
Well, really was you. You brought the Furies into this. You're committing a crime against humanity. The hell gives you the right, old man?
From time to time, I let them roam to satisfy their cravings. It cultivates obedience on the battlefield. My children need to grow accustomed to the taste. Let us call it a disciplinary measure.
Nagakura's eyebrows slanted upwards incredulously.
Did you just say discipline?
Just as you would a mutt or a horse. Breaking them in takes time. Patience is a virtue, and by letting them indulge in their thirst, they heed my every word.
Uh-oh. The thick, impenetrable darkness was suddenly dotted with pairs of crimson eyes. We fucked, yo. Father's words were enough to summon what revealed to be an army of Furies hidden behind rows of trees.
They were innocent men, you senile fuck! The hell did you do to them?
The same sin that you committed yourself, boy. I'm merely resurrecting men cursed by the ills of death, famine, and cowardice. They've been blessed with power. It may not have been their choice, but surely they'll come around.
The coldness in Father's voice was enough to set Nagakura off, who exploded angrily in kind.
You son of a bitch!
Father, you were a doctor. How could you do this?
I still am I not? This is merely an extension of my duty, giving life to those who are suffering. In fact, they should thank me. Mind you, they lack the faculties to do so.
Father, how could you? You're a...
Father, eh? You have always been so precocious, but it's high time for the charade to end.
Huh? Yeah, huh? Like he's always like, my child, blah, blah, blah. Now he's like, listen, stop calling me dad, bitch. I'm not your real dad. I didn't even love your mom. She cheated on me, you know? Obviously, that's not what happened, but you know what I mean, still.
Behold, I am not your real father.
He's not my real father? Couldn't believe what father was saying.
The blood flowing in your veins is precious, and traces its roots to the veritable Yukimura clan. Your fate has been decided, that you shall join in marriage with the patriarch of another demon clan. It is your duty to bear the children of Lord Kazama, thereby solidifying our legacies for generations. Imagine if we turned your children into Furies. How magnificent their potential could be.
What? You must be joking, right, Father? As if in response to my question, all of the Furies began to encircle us, grinning with warped, crooked smiles as they closed us in.
Do as you wish, but the girl lives. Consider him desert, my children.
Nagakora's face scrunched, and he glared in every direction out of panic.
Hey, you guys! You were Imperial soldiers, weren't you? Sure, we used to be enemies, but you gotta break through. Your mind's still in there somewhere, right? Right?
Nagakora's desperate attempt to reason was ignored. You can't reason with monsters.
Save your breath. They are Furies, not men.
Damn. Guess so. This is your doing.
Nagakora balled his hands into tight fists, which began to tremble violently near his hips.
Sorry, Spacey. I don't know if I can make it through this alone. Would you hate me if I used my powers?
I said nothing. Nagakora's potent rage was understandable, and there was nothing for me to say. He rather appropriately interpreted my silence as an affirmation and nodded kindly. Well, yeah, you can. Yes, you can. Like, what was that? What are the options? You can or say nothing. Please fucking do it. There's no other option here. You're surrounded by Furies that are better Furies than your Fury. So, your Fury powers combined with your awesome Shinsenguminess. Yeah, okay, you're fine. Yeah.
Much appreciated. Close your eyes for a while if you think it'll make you feel better.
In the blink of an eye, Nagakora's katana flashed as the steel slid from out of the scabbard.
Ah!
I'm sorry, that was really fucking terrible. He growled like a demon possessed. At the emotional center of his frenzy, he felt intense pity for the men who fell from his relentless attacks.
I'm so sorry, you guys. Forgive me.
He tore through their flesh like parchment. Heads and arms were zealously chopped from their bodies, producing geysers of blood amidst echoing shrieks. Jesus. They get, really gruesome with the details in some of these parts. Nagakora was proving too difficult an adversary, striking each vital point with accuracy that reduced the Furies into a revolting mess of blood and organs. Ugh. In the span of a minute, over half of the Furies surrounding us were corpses, and Father was helpless as he watched on in bewilderment.
The difference in power between a specimen such as yourself and these men is palpable. We shall see how you fare in our next meeting, when I unleash Furies beyond your wildest imagination.
Father chuckled to himself, spinning before fleeing into the forest and shrouding himself in darkness. Father, wait! As I sprinted in the hopes of catching him before he disappeared, a gang of Furies blocked my path.
Kodo, where are you?
Nagakora barreled into the group of Furies, slashing at them while trying to pursue Father, but the Furies did their job, serving as little more than meat shields to buy Father enough time to escape. Nagakora, he's gone.
Where'd he go? Come out, you old bastard!
I tried thrusting my body in front of him, but he instinctively shoved me out of his way. My words were useless as an arrow against a wall of stone, unable to penetrate his brutish mind. Was there any chance I had in stopping him? Someone tapped on my shoulder from behind. Amagiri? As I turned around in panic, I saw...
Lost himself again, has he?
Amagiri, one of Kazama's demon cohorts, stepped in front of me as if to shield me from Nagakora. Nagakora, still stewing in frustration, pointed his katana at Amagiri.
Look who decided to pay us a visit. What are you here for? You got a death wish, bud? Surprised to see you've still got your wits about you. Believe it or not, I'm not here to fight.
Can't do his voice the way I originally did it, so whatever.
Don't get in my way! Move to the side!
Nagakora shouted at Amagiri, swinging his sword at breakneck speed with the intent to kill. So in the bad path, he's going to kill us. Yeah, Nagakora's probably going to kill us. In spite of Nagakora's heightened agility, Amagiri swiftly ducked his head, avoiding the strike. Then...
Gah!
Amagiri jabbed his fist into Nagakora's ribcage, blasting Nagakora into the trunk of a nearby tree. The force of Amagiri's punch knocked the wind out of Nagakora, returning him back to his human form. Nagakora, are you alright? I ran to his body. After doing a quick inspection, I sighed in relief, seeing that he was still conscious. Amagiri was just knocking the wind out of him to turn him back. Like, he's fine. He knew what he was doing. While waiting for Nagakora to stand, Amagiri revealed some news about Father. All this time, Amagiri had been tracking each of Father's movements, going so far as to hunt down new batches of Furies without respite. According to Amagiri, the Furies who had appeared in Kofu were also Father's doing. Father was intervening with the natural order of man, a grave fact with which he was unconcerned. To our surprise, Amagiri was interested in becoming an ally, hoping to bring an end to Father's mortifying experiments once and for all. Then, Amagiri revealed one last bit of disturbing information he had uncovered in his travels. Utilizing Fury powers came at a terrible, terrible cost. Harnessing its strength meant borrowing energy accrued from decades of a normal human's lifespan. In other words, it was burning your own candle from both ends, just to see flame. I cut my hand over my mouth in shock, and Amagiri turned his head to admonish Nagakura.
You're strong. Strong enough not to rely on this wretched poison in order to win your battles. Please remember this. If you continue to depend on your Fury powers, then I'll crush that skull of yours. One day your brain will deteriorate, rendering you incapable of telling friend from foe, and you'll be worthless, capable of keeping this one safe.
Amagiri inhaled deeply, straightening his back as he gazed intensely at Nagakura.
You're unfit as a guardian of this girl's life. She's coming with me. That sit well with you.
Hold on! Please don't take me! Nagakura will get through this. He won't be defeated as easily as you say. Amagiri blinked his eyes at me inquisitively. It was impossible for me to read the meaning behind his expression, but...
Very well. One chance. That's all I'm giving you.
He spun around, melting into the ether like a phantom. What a relief. I let out an audible sigh, rubbing my eyes as I attempted to process the last hour of my life. Here's the funny thing, it's like he's telling us, hey, FYI, if you keep doing that, you're gonna die. But they also hate Furies, so don't you think that, it's because Amagiri has, respect for, the Shinsengumi dudes, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But it's like, he's almost like, so, you shouldn't do that, and I'll kill you if you fucking use your Fury powers and die, dumbass. But it's like, but you should be the demons always act like, we'll kill all the Furies, including you sons of bitches. But, not you, because, you guys are cool, I guess. It's just weird. Although Amagiri's news wasn't exactly encouraging, I had faith in Nagakura's ability to persevere. Someday he would conquer his demons, no longer tethered to the restrictions his condition imposed. It worried me, though, that Nagakura was slow to speak up after Amagiri's departure. Nagakura,
I'm a monster. Gave into my anger too quickly, just like last time. The line between friend and foe, like he said, gets so blurred. I'm worried that one day I won't be able to recognize you either.
well, you kinda almost didn't today.
I don't deserve to call myself your protector. Actually, I'm not sure if I deserve to call myself a warrior anymore.
Oh, is he crying? Oh my god, he is. Oh. Oh.
I'm not even a human, nor a fury, really. Just a goddamn mess.
We're all a little goddamn mess, okay, honey? It's fine. What? No, that's not true. You saved me, Nagakura. I tried cheering him up with a feigned smile, but the morbid image of him slaughtering Furies was fresh in my memory.
Kodo said he disciplined his Furies, like he would a dog or a horse, right? Kinda reminds me of Kondo, don't you think? They worked us to the bone until we were expendable. Why? Why did I let myself drink the water of life?
So, Nagakura regretted it after all. Hearing him voice a sentiment that plagued me with insecurity shattered my heart to pieces. Before I could respond, he meekly sauntered away. Where are you going?
I want to be alone. I don't need anyone.
Nagakura wandered aimlessly into the darkness by himself, crushing branches with his footsteps. My hands were clammy with nervousness, and I followed him into the forest without hesitating. Are you already on chapter 4? I'm guessing with how long this is taking to load. Yeah, wow. Nearly a week had passed since Nagakura secluded himself following his humiliating interaction with the demon Amagiri. He emerged from the forest, stumbling upon a decrepit hut at the base of a mountain range, and became a hermit in a cold, isolated slice of land. More often than not, he found refuge in his lonesome bedroom, shutting his heart away from the world. He became devoid of confidence, hoping that he could ignore the deafening sound of his internal guilt. By normal standards, it was nothing more than a prison sentence. To Nagakura, however, it was a chance to numb himself until he eventually turned to dust. Each day I traversed through the forest to procure supplies, like food and utensils from a nearby village. It was the only way I could keep Nagakura alive. Nagakura, I've made you some dinner. Nagakura, I was like, what is that? I was like, was that a stomach? Nagakura refused to answer, but I could hear his stomach grumble from the other room.
Guess I can't beat hunger either.
He was in a cycle of self-deprecation, both triggered and exacerbated by his hunger. Your choice not to return to the core is one thing, but the least you could do is feed yourself.
Yeah, alright.
Nagakura carefully grabbed the sides of the hot, steaming bowl of porridge I'd set on the table. He reluctantly put the bowl to his lips and sipped. His eyes widened, struck with a sudden realization.
Say, where'd you get the stuff to make this?
You handed me a pouch of coins and asked me to take care of it, remember?
Oh, right. Huh. Well, I got no use for the material world anymore, so I couldn't give a damn about money.
Well, which is good, because we have none left, and so we're going to starve to death. Seeming pleased with himself, he resumed eating. What did he expect us to do when the money ran out? Was he assuming we would simply live off the land? I wondered if Nagakura was experienced in living a humble, sedentary lifestyle. If that were the case, if somehow he could adapt to these adverse conditions, we would be okay. The biggest dilemma to me was deciding how long it would take for Nagakura to get over his slump. Even if he was to piece together the bits of his broken heart, how would we find our friends, our allies? As I succumbed to a bevy of anxious thoughts, Nagakura slurped the last bit of his porridge, licking his lips with satisfaction. I stared at him with a furrowed brow, and our eyes suddenly met, albeit rather awkwardly.
Hey, why aren't you saying anything?
There was a reason for him to point out my silence, but I felt better not to make any needless comments. Well, if I were in a similar position to yours, I don't think I'd want anyone to nag me either. More importantly, I wanted him to know. You saved me, is what we're supposed to answer, but I believe in you, I feel like is the better one, but. You saved me, Nagakura. So this time, I'm taking it upon myself to save you. Okay, now I understand. Please, pay me no mind. You deserve some time to yourself, to let your heart ease its way back into things. It was an honest, confident admission. It was my belief that Nagakura would emerge from this crisis as a stronger person. His past be damned. See, what's nice about this is he's like having this existential crisis and he's depressed and he's going through this melancholy period and she's not like, oh my god, get over it. Oh my god. She's just like, you know what? You do you. Like, you need some time. Like, I'm gonna cook. I'm just gonna make sure that you don't die because you're not gonna feed yourself, so you might starve to death. So I'm gonna do that and you just deal with your shit and I'm here. That's it. Like, simple. You know what I mean? And that's what anyone who goes through, like, when you go through any kind of bout of depression, anything, that's just what you need. You just need people to be like, okay, cool. And not be like, cheer up. It'll be like, don't tell me to fucking cheer up. Like, this is not like, man, I didn't get that job I applied for where, like, I'm bummed out, but I can cheer up because it's not that bad. It's a temporary thing. Like, when you're having one of those things, you're like, I just don't care about anything. Cheer up. Oh, okay. Because that's easy. You know what I mean? So I kind of like, she's not like, come on, cheer up. You're going to be, she's like, you know what? He just needs to figure his shit out. And I'm just going to get food for you and make sure you don't die. And I'm just going to sit here and I'm not going to nag you. And honey, you just work through your shit. Like, I'm here if you want to talk, but you just work through your shit. Like, everybody needs that. You don't need to feel more guilty by other people in your life when you're just feeling like crap for no reason. You're like, well, I mean, he's got a lot of reasons to feel this way. He's got a lot of shit weighing on him. But you know what I mean? There are those moments where you're like, I am just miserable for no reason. And you're like, I have logically no reason to be miserable. I just am. It's just the way my brain works right now. You know what I mean? Like, you can't pinpoint why. It's not like someone died. It's not like, everything's going wrong and you're like, everything could be going right. And you're just like, I'm just miserable. I'm just depressed. It's just brain chemistry. And all you need is someone to be like this and just be like, pat you on the shoulder and like, whatever you need. Do you need a blanket so you can turn yourself into a burrito? I'll get you a blanket. Okay. Not the cheer up. You know what? Everything will be great, blah, blah, blah. Don't just give, like, it's not that your words aren't gonna, that's not gonna help. Like, I get that's everyone's instant thing. Or getting mad at people. I can't tell you. That's why there are people that I was friends with that I'm not. Because it's like, when you go through that bout of you're just depressed, you're just upset, you just want to deal with you just like, I just want to wallow in my sad for a while. I just need to embrace it. Hold it, and then eventually it'll dissipate. You know what I mean? Like, eventually it will go away, but I just need to suffer right now, okay? I'm gonna bask in my suffering. It's like a hot bath. I'm gonna get in while it's steaming hot, and eventually it'll cool down. Eventually it'll be cold, but I'm gonna get in while it burns. And you have those people like, oh my god, just cheer up, come out, party, be like a happy person. Fuck you. You have no respect for me as a person. Because you can't understand that I just don't want to be a happy person right now. I'm just not a happy person right now. Oh my God, it just makes me so angry. I've had a lot of friends like that, who are those people who are trying to convince you to be happy because maybe you always were, yeah, fun, yeah, go to parties, yeah, have lots of fun. But when something happens that just crushes your soul, you're like, you know what, I just need to be miserable right now. And there's always those people who are just like, yeah, no, you're a robot and you should just be happy for me. Go fuck yourself if you're that person. Like, go fuck yourself. So I'm really glad she's not like, come on, cheer up, be happy. I miss the happy you. Come on. Like, she's just like, do your shit, man. You just embrace that pain. I will keep feeding you. I'm kind of worried about you, but I'm not going to nag you because you need to work through your stuff on your own, and I support you. Props to her for that. Okay, anyway. That was my rant. It was my belief that Nagakura would emerge from the crisis as a stronger person. His past be damned, see? Offering him anything other than support in such a fragile period for him could only worsen his mood. Thank you! Beyond whatever I could say to him, though, it was up to Nagakura to determine his resolve, how he would choose to move on from his own mistakes.
Sorry.
Nagakura blushed as his words trailed off. Thankfully, it seemed as though we got the gist of what I was getting at. It was the most encouragement I had seen in days. The next morning, I had the idea of setting up a training regimen for my swordsmanship. Any time that I was given the opportunity to engage in combat or restrain Nagakura, I was often too weak, especially in situations that involve furies, or like anything, even though you were with, again, you were with the Shinsengumi for 4 fucking years, you should be better at this. Hopefully, with due diligence, I would hone my technique enough to become a capable fighter. Now, I just wanted to become stronger. Yeah! I had sheathed my kodachi in the middle of an open meadow, letting the wind brush against my cheeks. I mean, she was trained, but yet she's still useless. And then she lived with the Shinsengumi for 4 years. Still, you should be better at this. Like, not as awesome as them, but like, still better. Recalling the memory of what I had learned in my dojo, I started going through the motions of my practice forms and put my all into every swing. My legs swatted against tall patches of grass as I wove nimbly through my forms. The air cracked with each vigorous slash of my kodachi, making my back muscles sore. As beads of sweat began forming atop my forehead from each exertion, a voice came from behind me.
Nice swings, kid.
I peeked over my shoulder, realizing Nagakura had crept from out of the hut to watch me train.
But why are you doing this, Spacey?
So that when the time comes, I can protect you. That's fucking adorable. It's like, oh, she's like 4 feet tall and 10. I know she's not. I know she's like probably 18 to 20 at this point. I mean, she could have been 18 when she went to go see them. She could have been like 16. You know what I mean? She's like roughly 18 to 20-ish. Let's just say 20-ish, right? Let's just say, but even still, it's still adorable because you look like you're 12. And you're like, I'm going to save you, Daddy. It's like a kid. I'm going to protect you. Oh, you're adorable. You know what I mean? It's basically how I feel. My master's greatest lesson was that swordsmanship is best used to hone myself into an instrument of protection, rather than an object of death.
Instrument of protection, huh? The thing is, no matter how hard you train, you're no match for a fury or demon.
Wow. Way to motivate me.
Especially not the fury festering inside of me.
Nagakura scoffed at me derisively. I'm like, you know what? Thanks for making me depressed now.
I threw away my entire life to seclude myself here, just so I couldn't harm anyone else. Now I might as well throw my sword away too.
It was a pathetic attempt at humor, but for Nagakura, his first instinct was offering a lighthearted quip to deflect the nagging pain. But as a fellow student of swordsmanship, no, as a swordsman, hearing someone whom I had, a swordswoman, hearing someone who I had respected willingly dismiss our craft was unbearable. A fellow student of swordsmanship. No, as a swordsman, you're not a sword. You suck at this. Stop. That's like me being like, because I can cook fucking box macaroni and cheese, calling myself a gourmet chef. Bitch, I can cook does not make me a chef. You have a sword and can train a little does not make you a swordsman. You could not fucking hurt a tree. Like, she'd go swinging at a tree branch and it would fucking take her out. Like, that's... I know she tries, but she sucks at this. Nagakura, why did you commit your entire life previously to swordsmanship? What were you training for? Was there anything in particular that you happened to achieve? Or you hoped to achieve? I was like, what? Pick your sword back up. Have some faith in the cause for which you dedicated your whole life. And believe in what your sword is capable of. Back in Kyoto, I always believed that you wielded your sword because you wanted to protect others. I said all of this in one drawn breath. With flushed cheeks, Nagakura seemed on the cusp of responding, but I gave him no such chance. I know the true Nagakura, the one whose heart broke for Heisuke's sake, the one who's still reeling with guilt over the loss of his dear friend Kondo. I know how benevolent and gentle your soul is, and that's something that you becoming a fury won't change. You mustn't succumb to your affliction. All this time, I've believed in you. So, for me, please, don't turn your back on your duty. Oh my god, is he gonna kiss her? Oh, he's gonna hug her. Oh, that's adorable. As I felt my throat strain from the passionate plea, Nagakura briskly pulled me into his arms. Suddenly, I was smothered by his loving embrace. He placed his tender lips against my ear. Wow. Oh, he's precious. I know he's not my favorite. He's like one of my least favorite. But, aw.
You think my sword can really save people's lives? Do you really believe in me?
Yes. She's like, huh? No sooner had my answer escaped my lips when I felt his squeeze tighten. Aww. When they put him in the CGs, he's like so precious. Like,
I never knew what good it'd feel to know someone supports me as much as you do. I never trained to become the strongest samurai in town. All I'd wanted to do was keep my friends safe, to fight under the banner of something meaningful. That's why I became a swordsman. In that case, how the hell am I gonna let the fury stop me from wielding my sword, huh? I get it now. All of it. With a sword in my hand, I'll be unstoppable. I won't let myself fall into darkness, and the only way a fury's stopping me is over my cold, dead body. Never again will I rely on my fury powers, but most importantly, I'll keep you safe. That's why I'm still here, living and breathing. Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. But thanks most of all for helping me realize it.
please, I've always believed in you, Nagakura. That's all. Aww. A breeze whistled through the blades of grass at our feet, and we separated from one another. I know we're like way over time, but well, not way over, but I looked deeply into Nagakura's eyes, and he flashed the brightest smile I had seen in ages.
Mind if I train out here with you?
Yes, please, feel free to join me. In fact, I'd love it if you showed me a thing or two. I mean to say, your style.
Sure, but I'm letting you know up front that the Shinto Munin style isn't for wimps.
Moonin style. Shinto Moonin style. One of Ito's most prestigious sword styles, used by the likes of Shinpachi Nagakura, Kamo Serizawa, and Kashitaro Ito. Okay. My heart fluttered with joy. At last, Nagakura had regained his sense of self. He confronted his fears maturely, never losing sight of what made him so special to me and his allies. Nagakura inspired me by learning from his flaws and choosing to accept rather than shun them. He was becoming the warrior he was born to be. Now it was up to me to do the same. Perfect time. Okay. Because I'm like, he's gonna. The next choice is bloodlust, so it's gonna be bloodlust. So anyway, I am going to wrap this part up here, and we'll continue chapter 4 in the next part. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.